I am 45 years old. I started lifting weights when I was 15 years old. No, I didn't get consistent until I was 28, but that's 30 years of trial and error and mistakes and learning things the hard way. But if I could go back and give my younger self advice that would have got me results way faster, these are the 15 things I'd tell myself. Number one, you don't have to eat clean all the time. I used to focus so much on just being perfect with my diet. I was petrified to go out with my friends and go to restaurants, and being too strict with my diet just led to binge eating mentality. Eventually, I discovered flexible dieting and was able to get fantastic results. So young man, learn to track your intake and include foods you love in moderation. Number two, more isn't always better. I used to train every single day and just run myself into the ground thinking that was gonna give me the best results. All that ended up happening was I got destroyed, could barely even function, and my results were terrible. Once I finally backed off and started taking appropriate rest, my body started recovering better, and all of a sudden I started seeing great results. Number three, quit with the all or nothing mindset. This is why I went from 15 to 28 years old, going back and forth and getting no results, because I wanted to do the best I could, but anytime I got in situations where I couldn't be perfect, then it wasn't worth it, and eventually I stopped, eventually starting over again. Then after years of always wondering, where could I be if I just stopped giving up all the time, I decided to just do what I could in situations where life was tough, and that's when the big results came. Number four, stop asking people who have the body you want for advice. It's usually terrible advice. I used to ask everyone in the gym who was in great shape what they do, what they recommend, and all that would happen is I'd get all this different conflicting advice and I'd get confused and get overwhelmed. And then I learned that a lot of people get results not because of what they do, but in spite of what they do. So just because someone's in good shape doesn't mean they know what they're doing. Focus on educating yourself. Number five, eat your freaking protein. Man, when I was young, I just ate whatever I wanted and didn't pay any attention to protein whatsoever. I wanted to build muscle, but it wasn't happening. Once I finally made protein a priority, I started getting those results. So aim to eat 1 gram of protein for every pound you weigh. Number six, training one muscle group per week to avoid overtraining is stupid. See, I actually did the exact opposite of when I first started because I felt like I was training too much, so I was overtraining. So I took on this new approach, and it turned out that approach was no better. And it wasn't until I started training 4 to 5 days per week, lifting each muscle group twice per week, that I finally started seeing the results. Number seven, the longer and harder something is to accomplish, the more rewarding it is. In the beginning, if I didn't see immediate results, I felt like it wasn't worth my effort and I would just give up. What I found was when things were really difficult and it took a long time, but I didn't give up, when I finally accomplished those goals, they're the majority of the best moments of my life and something I look back so proud on. So when something's taken a long time and is hard, it doesn't make it not worth it, it makes it more worth it. Number eight, quit wasting all your money on supplements. Man, back in the day, every time I read any article in a magazine about a supplement, someone in a gym told me about a supplement, I would take every single one of them to the point where I don't even know how many supplements I was taking. And it turns out the majority of supplements are useless. So just stick with creatine, protein powder, and fish oil. That's gonna be enough for most, with some small tweaks based on each individual. Number nine, meal timing is pointless. I used to think you had to slam a protein shake right after your workout or the whole workout was pointless. I had to eat every 2 to 3 hours to keep my metabolic flame alive and to optimally build muscle. Turns out when I got educated and learned more about the research, all this stuff is completely pointless. Just hit your calories, hit your protein, and stop stressing out about how frequently you eat. Number 10, stop getting so focused on the scale. I used to think the faster the scale moved, the better. Not just in a cutting phase, but also in a building phase because I wanted to build muscle, so if that weight was going up, I was building more muscle. Turns out neither are true, and I just kept going through these different phases, coming back and looking exactly the same every single time I went through a cycle. Remember, at the end of the day, you're not trying to change a scale number, you're trying to change your body. Just look at the changes you made from 160 pounds to 160 pounds 10 years later. Number 11, stop avoiding cardio, yes, even in building phases. What happened was I would read in the magazines that cardio had an interference effect with building muscle, so I wouldn't do any. What would happen is I would be in terrible shape. I would get winded not just walking upstairs, but even just walking around talking on the phone with people, I'd have to sit down because I would be so winded. The truth is, cardio not only has health benefits, but it actually helps with things like work capacity in the gym, and as long as you're not doing extreme amounts, you want to make sure you're doing at least some. Number 12, walking is not pointless. Once I got past my fear of cardio and started doing it, then I thought, well, it had to be the most intense, extreme form of high intensity interval training. And if you weren't just blasting yourself, it was worthless. All that happened was I just got exhausted all the time. Turns out walking is one of the best things you can do, not only for your health, but it's also the form of cardio I primarily used to get the most shredded I've ever been in my life. Number 13, take pictures and measurements. I used to never do these, and even if I wasn't looking too much at the scale, I would just go by a look in the mirror. But the problem is, you see yourself every single day and you don't see the changes happening. Pictures and measurements are going to show the true change, so don't rely on the mirror and especially your feelings. And remember, change takes time. Number 14, stop comparing yourself to others. I would look at other people who were in great shape and they would be doing it for less time than me, and I would wonder, what is wrong with me? Why are my results so poor? What are they doing that I'm not? And usually it would just lead me right back to asking them for their advice, which wouldn't help. Once I decided to stop doing that and just focus on doing the best I can for me and appreciating any progress I make for myself, everything got better. Number 15, and this is not just for fitness, this is for everything in life. Whenever you get to the point where everything inside of you is telling you to quit, it's not worth the effort. If you don't, right on the other side of that is when you get the breakthrough. When we wanted to move from Minnesota to Florida, we couldn't get our house sold, and after 6 months of nothing, I had written a blog post saying that we were gonna take it off the market, decided, you know what, screw that, it's too important, deleted it, and within 10 minutes, we got a call that we had an accepted offer on the house. It's sold! Woo! I had a point where I was trying to get ready for a powerlifting meet and everything in my life was going wrong. It's been a rough week on me. A lot of bad things have happened. I had some friends turn their back on me. My dog found out has cancer, and just a lot of bad stuff has happened.
My lower back just was not good. I immediately texted my wife, my coach, just was like, that's it. Hurt my back again, I'm done.
But then said, you know what, no, I will regret if I give up. So I kept with it.
I had to do everything that I can in my power to get there. And if I can't do it, at least I know I gave it everything that I had, and I can rest easy at night knowing that I tried.
And ended up having the best meet of my life that had me in tears afterwards because I was so proud of myself. Early in my coaching career, when business was terrible and I felt like I was never gonna make it, I got to the point where I felt like it's just never gonna happen, I should just give up, but said, no, this is what I wanted to do, and I kept with it, and within a few months, my business had doubled. I seriously, truly believe that when you say you want something, life is gonna test you on how bad you truly want it. And it's not until you pass a series of tests, not one, but a series of tests, where you prove to the universe that you're truly serious about it, that's when you're gonna get the breakthrough. So I'm curious, how long have you been doing this? What are some of the most valuable lessons you've learned, and what would you tell yourself? And after 30 years of trying, 17 years of getting serious, and 10 years of coaching, I found what I consider to be the 5 most harmful pieces of nutrition advice you probably commonly hear. So to find out what those are, check those out here, and I'll see you in the next video.